Okay. Alright. Okay. And we Gucci, baby. I think we Gucci. Alright. Let's see. Oof, I'm like 20 minutes late. Well, that's normal. Okay, here we go. And nope, wrong button. Alright. There we go. Alright. Whew. What a long day. It's crazy. I actually like work less hours now, but like, I don't know. Day still feels long. Like needlessly long. That's what she said. But let me check the phone. Hey, what's up, Supreme? How you doing, man? Doing alright? Doing good? What'd you read this week? Because I can tell you I did not really read that much new that came out. Only thing I really checked out that was new this week was Ultimate Invasion number 3. Does anyone else just kind of feel meh about it? Like, I don't know. Had like a cool kind of like there's a really interesting like Shadow World government like Illuminati type theme to it, but like I don't know, I kind of feel like I've already seen this. Like we've seen this before with Marvel and Hickman. It's kind of hoping for something new, but I feel like his heart's like really set on gods right now and not really this. But I don't know. We'll see how it wraps up. The last page reveal was pretty cool. I think it was relatively cool, I guess. But yeah, outside of that, the highlights for this week's reading weren't really like new books; they were just old books. Namely, I finished Justice by Jim Kruger and Alex Ross and Doug Braithwaite. This is really good. It's kind of weird. Everyone always talks about like DC's out of continuity stories being cooler than their in continuity stories, and that's pretty true across the board. But I feel weird about this one. I guess I just went into it like seeing the name Jim Kruger, thinking like, oh, this is gonna be like another Earth X, or this is gonna be like Project Superpowers or something like that. And it's just a cool, solid Justice League story, which isn't like bad by any stretch of the imagination. It's a really good book with really good artwork by Alex Ross and Doug Braithwaite. But at the end of the day, it's just a Justice League story. I don't know, like if this happened in the pages of like Grant Morrison and Howard Porter's JLA, it would just be another one of those. I don't know, still cool, but just not my favorite of Jim Kruger's work, but still really good. I will say, I feel like this book has been lost to time because I don't know why this isn't on everyone's top 10 DC stories, or like, not DC stories, but like top 10 like Justice League stories, because there aren't really a lot of great Justice League stories. Not in the way that like the Avengers has a lot of great Avengers stories. This is just like, I don't know, the Justice League just don't, compared to the Avengers, they don't have a lot of great stories. Let's see. Read some graphic novels by Laura Dean is Breaking Up With Me, Stuck Rubber Baby. I just need to read comic book stories about regular people with regular everyday problems, something real and relatable. I feel you. I actually read, I actually have Stuck Rubber Baby. I think I have Laura Dean is Breaking Up With Me. I think those are books that I got from my late aunt. Those are really fun. I didn't really appreciate them when I was a kid, because I was a kid, but I appreciated them when I was in my like later high school and early college days. You know, I appreciated it then. But yeah, those are fun. I do like stories of like regular people doing regular people stuff every once in a while. Although I don't read them a lot, just because like my life's already pretty like chaotic, so seeing the chaos of regular everyday people is, it just kind of feels redundant to me. That's like a personal thing. I don't know. Supreme says, confession, I love superhero comics, but I come to loathe superhero fans. More and more I understand Alan Moore. Dude, that's not a, that's totally fair. I don't think that's a hot take. Generally, I think a lot of I worked at a comic book store for a very long time, and I can tell you that comic book fans can sometimes just be like the bane of one's existence. Dude, I have some horror stories working at a comic book store, I can tell you guys. I made a video about this a couple years ago, but there was one instance where I was stocking shelves, and there's a guy who used to come to the store. He's a cool guy, but he's very vehemently like, Marvel's great, DC bad, but Marvel good. Marvel does no wrong, but DC terror bad. They're the worst of the worst. And he said something to me one day as I was like stocking the shelves. He just said Marvel characters are more versatile than DC characters because Batman and Superman can only be one race, whereas Luke Cage or Misty Knight or Black Panther could be any color. So just stuff like that. Just stuff like that where you're like, oh man, Alan Moore was onto something, because I need to firebomb this establishment so that it doesn't exist anymore. Just comic book fans will just make you insane. Or there was this other instance where there was a girl who came in with like her boyfriend, and she was talking about like Superman sucks as a character and Spider-Man's great because Superman's weakness is a rock, whereas like Marvel characters have more interesting they don't have stupid weaknesses. And I was like, ma'am, you're wearing a Storm t-shirt. If you literally lock Storm in a closet, she has a panic attack and dies. Like, what are we talking about here? Like, I don't know. Or like, I don't know. We didn't get a lot of DC fans in because a lot of stores are kind of like broken up into like, I don't know, sections, regions, factions. I don't know. But some stores are like more DC stores. Some stores are Marvel stores. Some stores are like more indie based stores. Uh, we were definitely like more like a Marvel slash indie store. But when it comes to superheroes, it was mostly like a Marvel store. Uh, but every once in a while, we would get DC fans in, and some of them were pretty cool. And then there were others where you're just like, God, man, you sound like Twitter and Reddit birthed you. Uh, I'm smart because I actually like DC heroes, and DC heroes are like underground, and they're underground because intellectuals like them. Only stupid people like Marvel characters because they're dumb. NPC, oh my god, just sometimes I think back to working at a store, and I'm like, Alan Moore was right. Alan Moore was right. But now that I don't work there anymore, I feel just better. I just feel better. But yeah, that's working at a comic book store for you. Supreme Omega says, speaking on comics fans, I came to really resent Red Hood. Oh God, Red Hood fans maybe sour. Yeah. Red Hood, I think, is like a he has a problem of like being a fan favorite for a lot of the wrong reasons, and B, DC Comics just kind of having this like weird approach to popular characters where as soon as a character gets popular, they don't really know what to do with them, so they just kind of throw them into the limelight of, well, now they're the hero person, even if that's like not really why that character got popular in the first place. Harley Quinn has this problem a lot too. She's not really like a heroic character. She's like, people like her because she is the Joker's ditzy girlfriend in like a one-sided relationship. Like, they like her because she's tragic, and now trying to frame her as like a heroic girl boss, I think, just misses the point of that. Same thing with Red Hood. I feel like Red Hood, he's just caught in like a weird place of, well, do we want him to be a hero, or do we want him to be like a Punisher style anti-hero? Like, you read the first issue of Gotham War, which I know a lot of people are just kind of fuming at. I think the idea is pretty sound, but I think the thing that turned me off with Gotham War was the way they approached Red Hood. Because I made a Red Hood video a while back, but I feel like Jason Todd has been on this trajectory of being a hero again, and I really feel like after Chip Zdarsky's run on Batman Urban Legends, that was the next stretch in putting Jason back on that hero path, along with the rest of the members of the Bat family. But now with Gotham War, you have Jason. He's teaming up with Catwoman because he's like, no, you get it. I feel like Jason a couple years ago would be in that camp, but I don't think Jason post Zdarsky would be the, I don't know. I mean, the whole thing's also just silly too. Like, Catwoman is basically using like Twitter blue check logic against Batman, which honestly I can see for that character. Maybe it works. I don't know. I don't really like Catwoman as a character. She's just I'm not a big Catwoman fan. I like the design of Catwoman before I like Catwoman as a character. I just think she's annoying. And she opens a whole can of worms with a larger problem in superhero comics, in which these are like stories that can never end. So the tit for tat that her and Bruce Wayne go through is just, this has to come to a head at some point, right? Like, you guys keep tempting each other with, well, maybe I should join this side, maybe I should join the other side. Like, just, you're in your 40s, guys. Just do something. Just do something. But this doesn't work. This relationship here is toxic. But I don't know. I didn't hate the issue of the first issue of Gotham War. I just meh. It was a lot of meh. It's not like this is a cool idea, but meh. But speaking of cool things though, I will say I read this today. I read most of this today. This is the first time I've read this, or I'm gonna get a chance to read this in its entirety. Hickman's Avengers, the complete collection. This has been really cool so far. I really like Jonathan Hickman's take on the Avengers. I remember at the time, when I was reading like the end of it, feeling like Hickman's take on the Avengers is a really, like, this would be really good as a Justice League book, but it's not really an Avengers book. I really feel like Hickman would do a really solid Justice League comic after reading this. I just feel like the Avengers are more so, that's more so like a soap opera comic, not like a big epic gods versus monsters book, which this ultimately is. But yeah, I don't know, man. Still really good. The art's also amazing. I think all of this is beautiful. Apparently Hickman is a graphic design artist, so a lot of the stuff like these Avengers decals, not decals, but like this whole like registry design right here, like Hickman did this. Dude, this art's just beautiful. Like, what is the art for this first issue, this first arc at least? Well, you don't have credits in here. Okay, that's fun. Jerome Opeña. Yeah, Jerome Opeña's art's really good here. So yeah, man, I'm really digging it. I love Ex Nihilo as a character. Ex Nihilo and his sister, they're really interesting. Again, they work really well as Justice League villains in a way I just don't think they work as Avengers villains. But I don't know. Still really good. I'm having a lot of fun with it, and I can't wait to like finally read this whole run in its entirety, because I missed out on getting the complete collections as they were coming out, but I am not making that mistake this time. I'm going to get all of them. The reason why people have problems with Gotham War is that fans here will be War Games 2.0 or Murder Fugitive Redux. I feel that. I just recently went back and reread some of that material for a video that's coming up. Part of me doesn't hate it, because I think Grant Morrison's run retroactively makes that material read better, just because I know what's coming. I feel like Grant Morrison doesn't get nearly enough credit, which is a hilarious way to start a sentence. But I feel like Grant Morrison doesn't get nearly enough credit for not only putting the Batman ship back on track, but also retroactively strengthening previous material that a lot of people just didn't really like or agree with, or felt pushed the character in a direction that was thematically counter to what Batman is supposed to be. I really think after a death in the family, DC starts putting Batman in like a more paranoid, more needlessly aggressive. Oh, what's up, 1610 man? More hyper violent, Dark Knight Returns ish kind of direction. So really, it's not like Death in the Family's fault. It's like more like Dark Knight Returns' fault. But as far as like Batman in continuity, he becomes more like Dark Knight Returns Batman as the years go on. And I get it. Dark Knight Returns was popular, but I think the crucial thing that DC misunderstood, and the thing that I think a lot of Batman fans misunderstood about Dark Knight Returns, is that Bruce Wayne is actually not the hero of that story. He's not. He's an agent of chaos in a dysfunctional fascist regime. But just because he's operating as an agent of chaos within a dysfunctional fascist regime does not immediately make him the hero of the story. There are no heroes in Dark Knight Returns. Like, that's kind of the point. I mean, Frank Miller's making a very frustrated commentary on superheroes as an American cultural fixture, and how maybe the American dream never existed in the first place, and that it's all been just a beautiful lie. And I like that book for that commentary. I think it works really well. The problem is when you try to apply that to mainstream superhero comics, you start missing the point of mainstream superhero comics, you know? So I feel like that whole push throughout like the 90s and the 2000s to push Batman in this like oppressively dark, like post-pulpy kind of like tone and style, it really misses the point of the character. But I love how Grant Morrison swoops in and says, yeah, actually the past 20 years has just been, it's been a midlife crisis for Bruce Wayne. Yeah, he did the cigarettes and razor blade scratchy voice thing. I'm Batman. Actually, just clear your throat out, Bruce. You got I'm Batman. Go back to what you were in the 70s when you were healthier. I'm Batman. Hi. Let's go on adventures, chum. Like, yeah, it's Batman. Duh. I don't think Grant Morrison gets enough credit for putting the character back on track, but also retroactively saying, yeah, you know, that past stuff, it still happened, and it's important for Bruce getting to where he is right now, but he's got to move on from that. And as far as the comics are concerned, that's been upheld. You know, Scott Snyder's run on Batman, Bruce Wayne he's more of like a swashbuckling, he's still kind of an asshole, because, you know, Batman, but like he's not what he is in War Games. He's not what he is in like a lot of the post Tower of Babel material. He's not what he is in Infinite Crisis. So yeah, you know, Scott Snyder kept that trend going of, you know, a more traditional like 70s Denny O'Neil style Batman. I feel like Tom King's Batman's kind of weird because the way in which he writes his Batman, what's up, Arcus? I'm not sure if I said hi to you yet, but yeah, if I didn't, what's up? I feel like Tom King's Batman is more so animated series Batman than anything else. But he's still operating in that, like, I don't know, it's just, Tom King didn't write a Batman book. Tom King wrote a Daredevil book for like 80 issues. He just turned Batman into Daredevil. Yeah. But a lot of the camp is still there. A lot of the zaniness is still there. It's still not afraid to be a comic book. And I don't think you get that without Morrison. A lot of the stuff that James Tynion does with Batman is very post-Morrison. And Zdarsky's run right now is just a straight up that's just him doing like the fallout of Morrison's run. So I don't know. I really think Grant Morrison should get a lot more credit for kind of fixing Batman in the comics and getting that character back on track, because I don't think he gets it. But I also don't think he gets it because his run's not really collected properly. I like the fact that it's all collected in like an omnibus form, but I really think it would be better if it was collected like this, in the way that like Marvel collected Hickman's run on the Avengers, or Hickman's Fantastic Four, or Mark Waid's run on the Flash and Jeff Johns' run on the Flash. I really think more people would be open to reading it if it was collected like that, as opposed to here's 3 omnibi. That's nobody wants that. Ain't nobody want that. But I digress. Stream says, oh, I already read that one. My bad. Actually, that's how I got on the whole Grant Morrison tangent. 1610 says, fans versus casuals, the dawn of meaningless comic accuracy arguments and adaptations in alternate realities. Yep, that's true. There's something to be said about comics being a casual reading experience. Because at the end of the day, like, I mean, I like comics, but like comics aren't this. You know, like comics aren't they're not this. I think comics are supposed to be like a fun thing to get into. I think some people take them a bit too seriously sometimes, but then I think people take them like not seriously, and that's how you get like the fake geeks. And I don't really feel bad about saying that anymore, because there are people who like, I like comics, but like ironically, and they just kind of end up, I don't know, like, I feel like that level of disingenuousness or disingenuity, or I don't know, not being genuine about it, kind of breaks comics. And I think there are some people like that in the industry right now, which is unfortunate, but that's like one of the sacrifices of comic book culture becoming part of mainstream culture. So that just kind of is what it is. But now that the MCU is fading, and now that I'm like 90% sure the DC universe, or DCU, I don't know what it's called, the James Gunn verse, I don't think it's gonna take off. But I think that train is dying down. Like I think the whole like, I am a geek, look at my geeky mug, like I think that's gonna go away, and we're gonna hopefully see geek culture heal. But yeah, let's see. Arcus says, imagine Daredevil family, DC style, Daredevil, Lady Daredevil, Kid Daredevil, has Good Bullseye, and Foggy Nelson as Daredevil Yellow. Thanks, I hate it. I don't want that at all. Jesus. Speaking of, what happened to Blind Spot? Like Charles Soule created like a whole sidekick for Daredevil, and just, I feel like he just went away as soon as Charles Soule's run ended. Because I don't remember him being in the Zdarsky run at all. I haven't seen him in like any of the other Marvel books. Is that a character that is just gone? Granted, I didn't finish the Charles Soule run. I know how it ends, but I didn't actually like read the last like 5 or 6 issues, so I'm not sure if, like, did he die? Did he retire or something? I don't know. But I mean, I think the Charles Soule run had some good ideas. I appreciate it. I love the art. It was very pulpy. I feel like Daredevil books, visually, ironically, are at their best when they have a more pulpy feel. Um, but the run itself, I just didn't really agree with. I didn't really agree with Charles Soule's take on Matt. I don't know. It was just something about it that just didn't really agree with me. I still like him as a writer, though. I just, I wasn't a big fan of his Daredevil, especially after coming off the heels of Death of Wolverine, which I really enjoyed. And I kind of wish wasn't double back on, especially after Jonathan Hickman wrote House and Powers of X, which brought all the mutants back anyway in a really clever and interesting way. But yeah, I don't know what happened to Blind Spot. He's dead. Why isn't this character in the books anymore? Is he dumb? r/Marvel Comics. 1610 says alternate realities and ideas are always ways to get. I'm gonna read that again because I feel like I stroked out for a second. Alternate realities ideas are always get taken into main universe continuity. Example, like Dark Knight Returns, Elseworlds, What Ifs, Heroes Reborn, Chapter 1, Ultimate, New 52, Earth 1. You know what's funny about that? I got a buddy of mine, and he's like a big Marvel Comics reader. He made a post on like his social media recently about how, man, Marvel's kicking DC's ass in the comics. Like, Marvel's got all these new ideas and DC's just doing the same old thing that they've been doing for 20 years and it's stupid, and that's why they can't grow as a company. And Marvel's the house of ideas. Marvel's they're on point, and I just don't. He's not a casual comics reader by any stretch of the imagination, but I know for a fact the only thing he's reading right now is X-Men, and he has a whole thing where he doesn't reorder comics. He just doesn't like reading old stuff. He likes being up to date on the new stuff, and I get that. Some people are just like that, but I don't have the heart to tell him. Because he's really into the stuff coming out right now. I just don't. How do I tell him that everything Marvel's been doing with the X-Men right now is just they're just riffing off of Earth X, which came out 25 years ago? How do I tell him that? Do I not tell him that? Do I just let him live the lie? It's a beautiful lie, but like I don't want to break his enjoyment of comics, because he's really into it. But part of me's like, man, this is stupid. What are you talking about, man? What are you talking about? DC's doing the same old thing they've been doing for 20 years, but Marvel's what? What's going on, bro? I don't know. Oh man. But yeah, everything Marvel's done over the past like 20 years has just been slowly but surely just ripping off of Earth X. Which I don't blame them. Earth X is a really great comic. Although I do have the thing with Earth X that I have with Kingdom Come. Despite not really liking Kingdom Come, I still like putting it in its place within like DC's like overall continuity. I see Kingdom Come as a wonderful epilogue to DC's pre-crisis continuity. I think if you're gonna read Earth X, the best way, not Earth X, Kingdom Come, and this is how I'm probably gonna do it next time I read it. I'm gonna read it with the mindset of everything from 1939 up to 1985 happens. And then instead of Crisis on Infinite Earths happening, you get Kingdom Come. So I feel like that's like the end of the DC universe, or the the pre-Crisis DC universe if not Kingdom Come, if a Crisis didn't happen. Um, and in that same breath, I feel like Earth X is the end of the Marvel universe proper. Um, because I feel like everything from, I mean, kind of the 1930s, kind of. I count like Marvel becoming Marvel at like 1961 with Fantastic Four. So everything from like 1961 up to 1999, I think, is when Earth X comes out. No, not 1999. Everything from 1961 to 1991, 1991 when Infinity Gauntlet drops. That is like that 30-year period. That is the Marvel universe, you know. And then after Infinity Gauntlet, you stop reading, you mentally skip ahead like 20 years, and then boom, you got Earth X. Earth X happens like 20 years after Marvel at its prime, and that's just it. Because I don't know, looking at everything else after that, there's definitely some cool stuff to come out in Marvel post Infinity Gauntlet. I like the Infinity Watch stuff a great deal. I really like a lot of the. I mean, right here, I love Hickman's run on the Avengers. I really love Grant Morrison's run on the X-Men. That's like one of my favorite comic book runs of all time. I love the Bendis run on Daredevil. In fact, I love that whole, well, barring Andy Diggle's run on Daredevil, but everything from Guardian Devil by Joe Quesada and Kevin Smith up through now. Yeah, everything to now. Really good. I think everything's been really good. But the Marvel Universe on the whole, I think is over. I think it's been over. I think it's been over for a long time, actually. And same with it, like, I think the DC Universe has been over for a long time. But I don't know. That's why I view Earth X. I view Earth X as like the end of the Marvel Universe. But give me 1 second, guys. Boop. All right. 1610 says apparently Marvel's Earth X continuity is 1939 to 1996 because Onslaught is the last big Marvel story. Okay. Is that mentioned in like X or like Marvel X? I know Jim Krueger did like a couple sequels to Earth X, and then he also did prequels like 20 years later. So I guess like 2 years ago, which I did not read because I hadn't read Earth X at that time. But Mark Waid's unmade Daredevil family, Marvel's Batman family. Oh, is that gonna be a thing? I haven't read the entirety of Mark Waid's run on Daredevil. Does he introduce a Daredevil family? Oh, that's... I don't like that. I'm not sure how I feel about that. Arcus says, Beanie, you're still blind to believe that My Adventures with Superman is good. I mean, like, here's my big thing with My Adventures with Superman. I think it has a lot of really good ideas, and what really kind of grates me is that conceptually this is everything I've ever wanted out of a Superman anything. I really love the idea of Superman versus the military-industrial complex. I really love the idea of this being a show centered around Lois, Clark, and Jimmy trying to solve mysteries. I really like the idea of like, I just love I love a lot of the ideas in the show. I think they're just handled very sloppily and very lazily. I don't think the animation's up to snuff, especially after watching a lot of other cartoons over the past couple years. I was just watching. I was watching with my girlfriend Ben 10 the other day, and I was like, "Oh, this animation's so good." And in the back of my mind, I'm like, "Oh man, My Adventures of Superman looks kind of crap compared to this." Like, there's just no money in it. The voice talent is like hit or miss sometimes. Jack Quaid, I like what he's going for. I just think that sometimes, man, you're not a voice actor. You're not a voice actor. I don't know. It's one of those shows where, like, I want to like it, but objectively, I don't think it is a good show. I think it's a very cute show, and it has a lot of really good ideas, but I just don't think they're handled well. The big reason why I think a lot of Superman fans, especially on Twitter, are like, they're just like they're streaking, they're crotch pumping, they're dancing like they're thugs in love, like I don't know what that allegory is, but like they're freaking out over the show because Superman is back, but Superman being back is just superficial. It's bright and it's bubbly, and Superman saved the kid out of he saved the cat from the tree and gave it to the little girl. Like, just there's a lot of, it's not Snyder, it's not Injustice, it's not what people who didn't read the New 52 comics but say like the New 52 comics were. They're dark and edgy. We're leaving the dark and edgy era of Superman, and we're getting into real Superman because it's not edgy. But, like, so what? It doesn't matter if it's not good. It doesn't matter if it's not good. I'm sorry. Which, I don't know, again, it just sucks to say because I think the show, again, conceptually, it's everything I ever wanted out of a Superman thing, but it is what it is. It is how it be. MCU and DCEU fading success equals back to standalone movies. I hope. More realistically, though, we're probably just not going to get superhero movies again. You know what? I say that, but I'm wrong. I take that back because I feel like we might. We're gonna lose the cinematic universe, and I think we're gonna go back to like superhero movies being event films again. And that could be good or bad, or as good as it will be bad. I think we're gonna go back to more stuff like the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies, which I don't really like, but the thing that I think works about those films is that they are just telling stories. we're gonna get more movies like The Dark Knight and Batman Begins. We're gonna get more movies like the first Bryan Singer X-Men movie, where there's no real effort to franchise. They're just gonna tell stories as if we're not gonna get to see these characters ever again. And I think that could be really good creatively. Honestly. I think it'll work better with some characters than other characters, but generally I think it's gonna be a creative boost for the superhero movie genre. What's up, Tevia? How you doing, man? Do I want superhero movies to die? No, but I want the way they're being handled now to die. That'd be nice. I'd like for them to be like actual movies and stories again. And not just like franchise commercials. Where was I? Blind Spot was blinded back into absurdity. Oh man. Idea. Okay, let's hear this idea, Arcus. Bring back Marvel swimsuit specials. Based, I like where your mind is. And expand into Marvel's lingerie specials. Okay, I like where your mind is. Maid specials. Okay, and MILF specials. Okay, you're fired forever from the internet. That'd be funny if they did those again, though. We won't, for obvious just social political reasons. We're not gonna get that. I think that is DOA. That's dead in the water. But be cool to have it, honestly. Tell your buddy that his fandom has clouded his mind with revisionist history of a beautiful lie. I don't have the heart to do it. He seems really happy about what's coming out right now, and I'm not gonna burst his bubble. I can't burst his bubble. He's like, you don't know. He seems so happy. He's collecting all of the Krakoa era X-Men stuff, and he'll go on like whole tangents about how, like, man, what was that stupid event? It was just like the X-Men Mario Kart, X-Men Mario Party with where you found out that like Apocalypse had a wife and all. Well, dude, what was that? X of Swords, dude. X of Swords. Dude, my lights went out when I said the name. Jesus Christ. Dude, X of Swords. God. He goes off on how that's like a brilliant event, and I'm just sitting there like, okay, okay. Hey man, more power to you, brother. Okay. I gotta have him on the channel at some point. He has a lot, like, even though we don't agree on like our takes for comics a lot of the times, he has really good insight on comic books, and a lot of comic book history. He's great at that. I think he'd be a really interesting guest to have on the show. But ow! Once again, god damn it. Supreme says, on my non-comic list, I've been watching The Wire and Sopranos. Oh, dude, good shows. Or at least I know one of those shows is good. Or actually, I know both of those shows are good, but only one because I actually watched it. I love the gritty crime fiction, so might as well watch the creme de la crime of crime procedural television. Yeah, dude. I've heard a lot of great things about The Wire. But The Sopranos, that's a glorious show, man. That is beautiful television. I just finished watching season 3 of True Detective myself. Easily one of my favorite shows. Season 2 is just... I've heard a lot of people say that it's like really bad. I don't think it's really bad. I think the problem with Season 2 is that it just... Season 1 drags you testicles first through broken glass and hot coals, but at least it gives you like an optimistic happy ending. Season 2 doesn't. Season 2 just like leaves you bleeding and depressed, and then like makes fun of you for wanting there to be something to latch on to. Like, you believe in hope, silly, stupid, baka. Like, season 2 just, it's just relentless for no reason. Like I had a discussion with Jack Genocide about this, because he likes season 2 because he feels like it's more realistic, and I get that, and I grant him that. That defense, it's a sound defense of season 2. It's just, it's fiction. We're allowed to have happy endings in fiction. It's the whole point of fiction. But that's why I like season 3. I also like season 3 because of the twist in it, which I guess saying that there's a twist is like already spoiling it, but I like how the show is self-aware and the way people perceive it. So they like subvert your expectations, and not in like a stupid like Last Jedi kind of way. Like they actually do a really good job of like subverting your expectations. It's really well handled. I'm excited for season 4. I hope this isn't one of those shows though that just every other season's really good. Like, I really hope season 4 isn't just a repeat of season 2 where it's like, oh, this sucks. Well, we're back to this show sucking. But 16 Men says, apparently Marvel's Earth X continuity. Oh, I already read that one. Okay. Supreme says, I feel like DC 1 million is the best definitive conclusion for the classic version of post-crisis DCU. The era of post-crisis before Jason and Barry were revived. I have not read DC 1 million. I really should. I know I should. And I have a lot of those issues in these long boxes. I've read a lot of the tie-ins. You know, I've read the Batman tie-in. I've read the Superman 1 million tie-in. Was it Justice League 1 million? I think I've read. But I haven't actually read, like, you know, DC 1 million. But I'll give it a shot. Jim Krueger had a whole timeline set up of Marvel Universe for Earth X with prequels. Yeah, and I just have to read those at some point. I'll get there. Adult Swim Superman. Hey Max Landis, your Landis verse got some great ideas. Now let me see your homework, bruh. Dude, yeah. It's so funny. It's so funny that there are a lot of people, especially people on Twitter, but a lot of people on YouTube who like ride the moral high horse of Max Landis is actually a bad person, and actually Superman American Alien is stupid boo-boo garbage and terror bad and blah blah blah, and then turn around and say My Adventures with Superman is like the greatest thing since sliced bread, despite the fact that it's literally just Max Landis' American Alien but rated G for children. It's just a child-friendly version of American Alien. Guys, do you not realize that you're being stupid on the internet? Do you not see? Do you not see with your eyes your own action? I don't know. Like, I mean, I really like American Alien. But you know, dude, Dude, it's just funny. It's just so funny how some people are like, American Alien bad, but actually My Adventure with Superman good. You ever watch those videos of people feeding their children something that they say they don't like, but they're blindfolded? So the kid will like eat like a thing of broccoli, like a little ear of broccoli. Not an ear of broccoli. Is it an ear of broccoli? I don't know. But they'll eat some broccoli. The parents will feed them some broccoli, and the kid's like, "Oh, I hate this I like this because this tastes pretty good." And then the parents like take the blindfold off and it's like, oh, "It was broccoli the whole time." Like, yeah, I feel like this is that. This is that, but for like uppity Superman fans who want to ride a moral high horse about how much they hate Max Landis. It's just funny. It's just it's so silly. Oh man, I really do wish the Max Landis verse like panned out. Because I think Max Landis had a lot of really interesting ideas. But instead, here we are with just stale ideas. And ideas that are pretty good, but are just executed pretty dumb. So basically, you want the Superman movies to not be connected. Kinda. Yeah, that'd be nice to go back to that. Or like loose connections. Like apparently how like the Thomas Jane Punisher movies take place in the same universe as the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies, but like you don't have to watch one in order to enjoy the other. They're just cool movies that are set in their genres. That's another thing that I really want. I went on this whole rant last week, but I would just like to see more genre-driven superhero movies. Like if we're gonna do like more Spider-Man films, I don't need them to like be part of like a whole big like cinematic universe thing. I would like if they're like nebulously set in a Marvel universe where there are other superheroes. Like that'd be cool. Because I feel like the thing that works about Spider-Man is that he is the hero on the ground. But I mean, it'd be cool if like we somewhere between Spider-Man Homecoming and the first Andrew Garfield Amazing Spider-Man movie is the perfect Spider-Man film. Right? Like a superhero movie that is one part action blockbuster, one part horror, and one part teen romance drama. I feel like that's the perfect Spider-Man movie that we haven't quite gotten yet. I think the Spider-Verse movies kind of go to those places. Tone-wise, Across the Spider-Verse, I think gets the closest to it. But even then, Across the Spider-Verse is it's just too big for my liking. And it hits the nail on the head of that like Spider-Man problem that I have and have had with that character across every form of media the past like 15 years, which is just Spider-Man's not the Flash, guys. Spider-Man's not Superman. Spider-Man's Spider-Man. But I don't know. I'd like to see more like just standalone superhero movies that just are genre focused. Again, that's my big thing. Standalone super movies that are only connected in theory or Easter eggs. Yeah, I think that'd be really good. Focus on story and not building a universe. That'd be nice. Supreme Omega says, for me, when it comes to superheroes, I tend to read the older stuff. Like, you're reading a classic Batman or Spider-Man story if Jason and Norman are still dead. Yeah, and Norman should still be dead. I feel like there are a lot of Spider-Man characters that have died and should have stayed dead, or there's just a lot of Spider-Man characters where their arcs are finished. Like, I'm glad Nick Spencer put Harry Osborn back in the ground, but like, Harry shouldn't have come back in the first place. Norman really shouldn't have come back in the first place. Norman was a great antagonist when he was dead. You know why? Because even in death, Norman was still pissing on Peter's life. But that's just the power that character demanded by default of his legacy being so impactful. This is like a grown man, a dead grown man, ruining this young man's life long after he's dead. Like really affecting everyone's life long after he's dead. So I don't know. I think Norman was a better character when he was dead and gone. I feel like Doc Ock has had several ending points as a character. I think Doc Ock has a really good ending, and I can't remember that. It's a 90s Spider-Man book, but he just leaves. Well, there's really one where he dies. And I think he should have died in the 90s. But then like there's another one where like he just walks away in the rain. I can't for the life of me remember what that was, but then he comes back under Straczynski. And I like that issue, but just we could have left Otto in the ground. Or just left Otto alone. And then there's Superior Spider-Man, which is the end of Otto. Like, I don't even love Superior Spider-Man like that. I don't like that story. I don't like Dance Let's Run all that much. But like, all things considered, that's a pretty good ending for Otto. So this character's gone. Let him die. If you want to have like a Doc Ock style character, you just make a new character. But this gets into the whole thing of, I think Marvel after Infinity Gauntlet is just over. It ended. It's done. We're done. We don't need any more of this. You done broke it. I will say, Clone Saga, as much of a brilliant, beautiful mess of a mistake that wound up being, I think the ending is really good. I think the ending is like kind of the perfect ending for Peter Parker as a character. Because, okay, they bring Norman Osborn back, that's stupid, but like, outside of that, it ends with, well, one, Peter's baby just disappearing for research, and then we just never see that kid ever again, which is a plot hole, and Marvel should fill it with something. In fact, I have a better idea. Marvel, hire me. I can fill it for you. I have a pitch. Just call me. But I really feel like Peter Parker's story ending with him holding MJ at the Queensboro Bridge overlooking the Brooklyn Bridge with Manhattan Island in the background, and he's just saying, we're gonna be alright. That's a pretty good ending for Spider-Man. I think that's a pretty good ending for Spider-Man. Like, you can just end Peter Parker's story right there, and everything works. But he kept going, I guess. Good ending. ... Here's some more BS. Toby says a question. Personally, in my opinion, if we got another Battle of the Super Sons animated movie, I would be happy. Do you think DC would just give up on age up John Kent? Nope. They're not going to. I've answered this question a lot, dude. Like, they're not gonna give up on it. Because it will look bad if they give up on it for just political, like, social reasons, because this is gay erasure. You're gonna run into that backlash, but also you're gonna run into the problem of just John's been an adult now longer than he was ever a teenager. So just what are you gonna do now? Like, we've officially told more stories with John as an adult than as a little kid. So we can't go back on this. I mean, I don't know. I feel like John should just not exist, but that's just me. What's up, John Ty? How you doing? What cool comics did you read this week? Granted, there's not a lot. We were just talking about how there wasn't a lot that came out this week outside of like Ultimate Invasion for real. Although I did see that the Doomsday book, Doomsday special came out. I really wanted to get that because apparently that has Doomsday in Hell, and that's a really cool idea. I mean, it kind of doesn't make sense if we're gonna follow like the Sandman concept of hell, or like is it Sandman or Lucifer that confirms that like you only go to hell if you believe that you're going to hell. Like if you yourself know that you're a bad person, then you're gonna go to hell. I feel like that's confirmed somewhere in like one of the Vertigo books, which apparently they bring in like the First of the Fallen, which I don't know how I feel about that. Like as like a Hellblazer purist, I don't know how I feel about that. I don't know if I like that. But you know, I guess, you know, tying the Vertigo stuff more with the DC stuff is. I'm in the minority of Vertigo fans where I don't mind that. Like, Martian Manhunter is in the first arc of Sandman. Like, he's not connected. Shut up, it's connected. John Constantine is a Swamp Thing character. Shut up, it's connected. I don't care if you think you're too cool for school to have Superman exist in the same world as Hellblazer, but they do. So shut up, dork. But yeah, apparently you got some cool Doomsday stuff in Hell, and I don't know. I think that'd be cool to read. Plus some of those covers look really dope, and I'm not a variant cover guy, but some of those variants look really cool. God damn it! Why do I keep? Okay. Beanie, with all the hate that what's with all the hate John Byrne's Superman's been getting lately? It's a whole thing. These days people really treat it like it's guilty of everything wrong with Superman. They say it was responsible for making the character boring, which is funny because John Byrne was actually brought on to the book to make the character not boring for most people. The real problem with John Byrne's run on Superman is not the book itself, but John Byrne as a person. I mean, I have my issues with Uncle John, Grandpa John, Grunkle John Byrne. Grunkle John is an interesting person with a lot of interesting and eccentric ideas, specifically relating to race and women of the young underage variety. Someone really should check his hard drives, just saying. But like John Byrne, as a person, is mighty questionable. But as a writer, I think he's pretty good, and I think he brought in a lot of really cool ideas for Superman. I also think John Byrne brought in or brought back a lot of key Superman themes that had just been missing from the character for a long point, or a long portion of time. I don't know why I said long point, but Yeah, no, like I think it was a stroke of genius having Lex Luthor basically be the face of like corporate libertarianism. I think it was a great idea to have Superman's a lot of his villains be tools of uh, corporate capitalist greed or tools of the military industrial complex. I think that was a really it's a stroke of genius. Um, I really think it was a good idea to really play up some of the weird science fiction stuff with Krypton. And Superman's like Kryptonian heritage. I think that was a great idea. Um, I mean, is John Byrne's run on Superman flawless? No. Um, are there a lot of things that writers spent like 20 years trying to undo? Yeah, I think those actually. You just run into a lot of problems with John Byrne's Superman after the fact, where you just have like Jeff Loeb tried to undo a lot of the John Byrne stuff, but then they brought it back, and then you have Mark Waid kind of like do his redux on John Byrne's Superman, and that's like canon for like a year until Jeff Johns basically says that like Superman the movie is the canon origin, but the John Byrne stuff still happened. I don't know. Superman's just been stuck in a cycle of everyone trying to out John Byrne Superman, and it's just been frustrating. But the long and the short of it, people don't actually dislike John Byrne Superman. They just dislike John Byrne as a person, and they're taking it out on his Superman run. Which I think is just it's silly, but you saw the same thing with Max Landis, where everyone's like, actually American Alien's stupid, and I'm a real Superman fan because I think Max Landis is a big poopy dumb face, and that's why everything he also wrote is big poopy and dumb. But then turn around and they slurp down my adventures with Superman, which is literally just American Alien for like an all ages audience. So I I don't know, man. You can't take a lot of the Twitter people nonsense too seriously. It's just really dumb. It's just petulance. Don't give petulance any mind, because you're gonna drive yourself crazy trying to like take a lot of this shit seriously. Tevye says, idea, Marvel, just give us back Peter Parker with his wife Mary Jane. I would love that, but we're not gonna see that. You know, we're not gonna see that. Sopranos' worst character is AJ, a waste of a human life. Oh man, I don't feel that strongly about AJ. I actually feel like I feel like AJ is like one of the more sympathetic characters in the show. The problem with AJ is that he wants to be his dad, but he's too pampered to be his dad. Like he lived too good of a life to be the Tony Soprano. I think Meadow's one of the. I think Meadow is like kind of on track to being terrible, because she spends like all 8 seasons like crapping on her dad and like saying, "You're in the mafia, you're bad, you're a bad man." But then it's implied that she's gonna grow up and become like a mafia lawyer. So like there's that. But I also think Carmilla's really bad too. Because Carmilla's one of those characters who she's just always going like, "Oh, Tony, I can't believe we live this life. It's so shameful. I have to go to church, Tony." But she's totally fine hiding guns in her like in the air vents. She's totally fine with like keeping money squirreled away and like living her lavish lifestyle atop the bones in pain that her husband used to build it. Like, I don't know. Just everyone in that show is a bad person, but I think AJ is like the least unsympathetic character in the show. I think AJ is I don't want to say the most sympathetic character because AJ is also kind of a bad person, but like he's among the characters in the show, he is the least unsympathetic. I'll say that. Timmy says, question, with the Ultimate Marvel Universe returning, do you think DC will bring in more Earth 1 graphic novels? No. No. We're not getting that. Earth 1 is effectively dead. I realized that once we saw Aquaman Andromeda and said, oh, this is just Earth 1, but not. I think we're going to get more of that. I think we're going to get, like, if we do get, like, a out of continuity, like, Flash Redux, it'll be under Black Label as, like, a miniseries. You know, if we get, like more crazy stuff, like, I don't know, like a Blue Beetle Earth 1, it'll just be, like, Blue Beetle Guyver or something like that. Or I don't know, but yeah, it'll be in that vein. What are your favorite characters in The Sopranos? If you watched all the seasons, Tony's my favorite character. I mean, that's like a very like simple, like, yeah, but yeah, I like Tony a lot. 1610 Man says, fans don't realize the Ultimate Universe isn't returning. It's a new Ultimate Universe that Marvel's focusing on, but the old one still exists in the multiverse out there. I still think it's effectively dead, but not really, because no, you're right, yeah, because Bendis brought it back. Yeah, Bendis brought the Ultimate Universe back, and we just dropped that whole plot point. I don't know why, but we did. I'm kind of glad. Like, I don't know how you do the classic Ultimate Universe now in a post MCU hyper sanitized Marvel IP. I just don't know how the Ultimate Universe works under that. I don't think it does really. So I'm glad they're just gonna leave the Ultimate Universe where it is. I'm glad. Just make a new Ultimate Universe that can just be like vapid and full of like blue checkmark ideas. Smooth brain blue checkmark ideas. The Ultimate Universe is dead and buried. Not really. It's there. Just no one does anything with it. What about Spider-Man No Way Home? Because that movie's freaking fantastic. I'm glad you like it. I think No Way Home is the movie that everyone describes The Flash being. I don't think No Way Home's a good movie. That movie is just like that. It is everything that Martin Scorsese describes when he talks about superhero movies and how they're just roller coaster ride. They're not really movies. They're not really stories. Also, No Way Home like retroactively makes the previous two MCU Spider-Man films like 1,000 times worse. I don't know. It's not good. But I don't know. Supreme says, also on Jason, after reading some classic Batman stories in the 90s, the Glass Case Memorial had more character and personality than Red Hood. Jesus. You're going for blood today, aren't you? There is something poignant about an empty Robin costume. At the end of the day, I do still stand by my claim that Jason was a better character when he was dead. That said, I still think the potential of Jason being the Robin that died and came back, and that still kind of haunts Bruce. I think you can do something interesting with that idea. And every once in a while, someone touches on how interesting of an idea that really is, but I just never feel like it's taken far enough. I think the last person to like actually do anything like really fun and interesting with it was Grant Morrison. And I know I'm slobbing the Grant Morrison knob real hard today, but like that whole thing where he has the Red Hood VAT type helmet, and he's got the superhero costume with the guns, and he's basically being built up to be Dick Grayson's Joker. That was a really good status quo. That was a really good promise that just ultimately never got delivered on. But it is what it is. What about the upcoming Spider-Man 2 game? I'm excited for it. I'm definitely going to stream that when it comes out. I don't know like how long it's gonna take to stream it, but I will stream it when it comes out. Ideally, I would have liked to play some past Spider-Man games for you guys leading up to it, but my PS3 is just acting weird and funky, and Ultimate Spider-Man, I don't know why, just doesn't play on my PC. Just doesn't. And I can't play Web of Shadows for you guys because my PS3 is not wanting to agree with my OBS setup. So I can't play Shattered Dimensions for you guys. I can't play Edge of Time. And that game's hard to get a hold of now. Really should not have listened to the internet when they said that game was bad, because I watched some I watched the Let's Play of it, and it is great. That game looks really fun. I love how they got Miguel O'Hara right compared to Shattered Dimensions. So that's the whole thing. I also like how it's like the last. Yeah, it is the last superhero game that feels like it takes place in the comics. It isn't just like a movie pitch. I stopped myself because I was about to say the Arkham games, but nah. As soon as Arkham City comes out, that diverges from being like, well, this can take place in the comics, and then it's like, oh no, never mind. No, this is its own universe. But yeah, I really like Edge of Time, watching the gameplay of it, and I wish I could get my hands on it so I could play it for you guys, but I can't. And I would love. What I really want to do is I want to play Web of Shadows for you, but my PS3 just doesn't want to play anything that is older than 2010. So I wouldn't be able to play that for you guys even if I wanted to. I know there are PC versions available nebulously on the internet. Cough, cough, hint, hint, wink, wink. But I don't trust it. I don't trust it. I mean, they're like from the same sources that you can get Ultimate Spider-Man from. But if Ultimate Spider-Man's not playing, I don't trust Web of Shadows to play. So I don't know. I don't know what the deal is there. But I will definitely be streaming Spider-Man 2 for you guys. I pre-ordered the I forgot which version I pre-ordered, but I'm gonna get the extra skins. So I'm excited for it. I can't wait to stream it for you guys. It comes out in like what? Like a month? October 20th. So okay, that's 2 months. It comes out in 2 months. That's really cool. 2 months is gonna like go by like that. Question: why is Marvel so obsessed with making Peter Parker miserable? Because they keep conflating Spider-Man with Daredevil. When they're not conflating Spider-Man with the Flash, they're conflating him with Daredevil. Then again, I think a lot of characters are being conflated with Daredevil. I don't know what that is, but I feel like a lot of superheroes in Marvel and DC are they're following the Frank Miller Daredevil arc. Like, okay, I'm going to list it here. I'm going to just say a story pitch outline for you guys and tell me who I'm talking about. They're a superhero, right? And their big ultimate bad guy is a big ultimate threat, and he has his fingers in they're like tendrils. They control all of crime, and the hero is confronted with the bad girl from his past, and he's conflicted because he likes the bad girl, but then like the bad girl dies or something terrible happens to her, but he or like she betrays him. Yeah, the bad girl betrays him, and like he's sad because he liked the bad girl. Like, it's just all these books are just Daredevil, dog. Tom King's run on Batman is just Daredevil. like, like a lot of modern Spider-Man is just Daredevil. A lot of modern Flash is just Daredevil. Like, specifically, like, the Barry Allen stuff. It's just Daredevil. I don't know, man. I like Daredevil, but, like, you don't have to turn every character into Daredevil. That was Dan Slide who brought Doc Ock back. Really? I thought it was... Was Dan Slide even working at Marvel back then? I really feel like it was JMS who brought him back. But, I don't know. A little bit of modern Hawkeye as Daredevil. Yes! Dude, like, Hawkeye from, like, Matt Fraction onward is literally just Daredevil. Which I guess I'm the problem, because I love that run on Hawkeye. That is my favorite Hawkeye. But then again, I guess I just liked it because I like Daredevil. I'm scrolling back to where I was, but I just see someone said Chris Kent is better than John Kent. Absolutely. You are right. That is an honest answer. It's honest because it's the right answer. Wow, where the fuck was I? Okay, there we go. Just under John Ty saying hi, and once again, hello. Good to have you, man. Arcus says, if we're being honest, every villain had at least one definitive ending that is disregarded by a new writer. Like, Doom had at least 3 definitive endings. That's true. I'm trying to think who else. I think the Joker has a definitive ending with... the Joker's had several definitive endings. I feel like Killing Joke is a pretty good place to end that character. I also really like the ending for... You know what? I think the Joker should have died at the end of No Man's Land. Jim Gordon should have shot Joker in the face. That should have been the end of No Man's Land. Jim Gordon should have shot Joker in the face, and then Jim Gordon should have retired from being the police commissioner. And that should have been it. And we should have just moved on. But I also feel like God damn it. I'm trying to think of the name of the Death of the Family. That's a real good ending for the Joker. We don't need Joker after that again. I mean, Scott Snyder brings him back, and I think it's thematically it works for his run, but Endgame also is a pretty like definitive ending of the Joker. Like, after that, you can just stop. Like, we've had several points with the Joker where it's like, okay, just stop. and just you're done. You're done. You done did it. You done. You finished your plate of food. Stop licking the plate. There's nothing left. You've licked the basic cosmic ingredients off the plate. I'm just looking at spare atoms now. What are we? What are we still doing with this character? I love the way Grant Morrison opens their run on Batman. It's just like Joker has like a like a hot air balloon full of like blind deaf orphans that he's going to blow up, and he has Batman like bound and gagged in Commissioner Gordon's like dying on laughing gas, and then the Batman just undoes the binds and then shoots Joker in the face. That's a good ending for the Joker. And I love Batman. I love like the real Batman's reaction, because you find out that like that's actually just a cop dressed up as Batman who shot Joker in the face. But I love when the real Batman shows up and then just takes Joker's body, and the EMTs are like, he might still be alive, and Batman just bump walks to a dumpster and just bump, and we're done. My baggage is complete. Take it out the trash once and for all. That's a great ending for the Joker. I mean, I love everything else that Morrison does with the Joker after that, but that's a good ending, honestly. Trying to think who else had like has had several really good endings. I remember thinking the Orange Lantern story with Lex Luthor was a pretty good ending for Lex Luthor. Reverse Flash had and I'm specifically talking about the Professor Zoom Reverse Flash. He has a really good ending with the return of Barry Allen, where you find out that the reason why Eobard goes crazy in the first place is because he reads Iris West's like biography of Barry, and he realizes that he is the villain of the story. I think that's a really good ending for Reverse Flash, and we could have just left that character be, but we didn't. Had to bring him back. I don't know why. We had to bring him back. Yeah, there are a lot of cool characters that get like just endings. And I think we should just normalize ending characters and then making new characters to fill that void. Just do that. I feel like that should be done more often in comics. Oh, we should have kept Peter and Andrea together. Yeah, I agree, but that, yeah, is what it is, man. It is what it is. John Ty says, I've read the first issue of Tom King's Penguin run, and it's great. Okay, cool. I'll give it a shot. I know Chip Zdarsky did Penguin issue 0. I think that might be like tying up that loose end from the beginning of his run where Penguin fakes his death. But yeah, I'll give it a shot. It was Lucifer Comics. Okay, cool. That confirmed that like if you only go to hell if you believe in hell, which is kind of weird because I don't think Doomsday believes in anything. Doomsday's just like a mindless beast, but okay, we'll go with it. Because it's a cool visual of Doomsday in hell fighting demons. That's awesome. Which, by the way, I see a lot of Doomsday slander on Twitter as well, and I just want to sit here and say that you're wrong. You're wrong. Doomsday is amazing. Doomsday is like the inverse of Superman, and that's why I love it. If Superman's a character who's all about neurotically feeling like he's not doing his best to live up to the legacy of Krypton at its best. Doomsday is just a shit-stained embarrassment on Krypton's scientific legacy of being evil eugenicists. Like, Superman's like, yes, I remember the good parts of Krypton. And then there's Doomsday, which is just this baby that got shot out of a cannon into, like, the ancient Kryptonian wilderness. like, hundreds of times over the course of decades by these Kryptonian scientists who were like, we're gonna create the ultimate baby. Test 197. Throw it into the wilderness with the wolves. Let's watch it get torn apart. Alright, let's go get the genetic material. It's not going to get torn apart with wolves anymore. Just, that's awesome. I think Doomsday's great. And also Doomsday is like the ultimate nightmare for Superman. And that's something that I think a lot of characters kind of need. Or superheroes need, at least. I think a lot of characters need that one threat that just cripples them emotionally and just gets at them in a way where no one else really can. Lex Luthor, at the end of the day, is like that is someone who frustrates Clark because Clark sees what Lex's potential could be, but Lex just never lives up to it because he hates Superman too much. But that's not the same as, like, fear. Like, Clark is afraid of Doomsday. Like, that is like a primal fear that Clark has of that thing. That also represents the legacy of Krypton. I think Doomsday's a fascinating, not character, but like figure in Superman's lore mythology. I think he's really cool. 1610 Man says Marvel bringing Peter and MJ's kid back, raised by Norman Osborn in Europe to be another Goblin supervillain. I could see that, honestly. I mean, I got a pitch. Marvel, hire me. I got a pitch for you guys. I got some Spider-Man pitches for you. John Ty, have you been reading the Detective Comics run by Ram V? That's a great modern Batman run at the moment. I'm not. I just had a whole thing where I see what Ram V's doing, and everyone tells me that it's great and that it's like the Batman book, but I'm just not super interested, or at least I wasn't super interested as it was coming out. Because I guess I was just tired of gritty Batman, and from what I read, that was like what Ram V's doing, and I'm sure he's doing it really well. I want to see Batman on like Counter Earth Jupiter's third moon, fighting zombies with a robot Sergeant Rock and Bizarro, whose brain has been swapped out with Starflyers. That's what I want to see out of Batman, and I think that's what Chip Zdarsky's given us right now. But I will check out the current Detective Comics run. I think the hardcover just came out, so I'm gonna probably check that out at some point. I loved how all the covers were like tarot cards. I think that's a really interesting idea. It's a very powerful like visual. I want to know what like the actual like I want to know like the context behind that is. That sounds pretty cool. Didn't John Byrne also write Spider-Man Chapter 1? Yes, he did, and it is not good. It's basically John Byrne trying to Man of Steel-ify Spider-Man, and it doesn't work. Not at all. It is one of the 800 pre-Ultimate Universe attempts before we get to Ultimate Universe. I mean, there's some stuff that stuck around though. Like Blue Electro stuck around. I don't know. Outside of that, I can't think of anything else. But fans and casuals hate John Byrne. Only care about his continuity and hates everything else. But every other writer literally does that. Yep. But no, they're not John Byrne though. So John Byrne gets the hate. John Byrne gets the hate, even though everyone else does the same thing. Superman Rebirth did a Superman retelling. It did. Very sloppily and very lazily, but it did. It did a retelling of Superman's origin. I can confirm that is what happened. Also on definitive endings, I know people like Morrison's run, but for me, I feel No Man's Land is a perfect ending for Batman and also Jim Gordon. I'll have to read No Man's Land again with that in mind. Because for me, I don't have that. For me, I'm reading No Man's Land through the lens of these are the trying times that get us to Morrison. But I'll read it again and try to have that read of it. I just don't think Batman ends that bleak. I don't know. John Byrne said in an interview that I wish I never left the book in a rage because of my hatred for editors and TV show people from my bench with Lois and Clark. Yeah, you can definitely tell. The whole thing where he had Superman just murdered the 3 Kryptonians out of rage as a middle finger. I see that. I definitely see that. But even then, John Byrne's not allowed to feel remorse for actions that he took as a younger man, because he is the bad man. He's the big bad, because the internet never forgets. Arcus says Bane standalone HBO series Breaking Back. I really do like how the Bane One Bad Day story is just about how breaking Batman's back is the worst day of his life because he never lived up to anything else after that. I think that's great. It's true. Bane is a one-trick pony. Even though I think he could be more. And conceptually, I love that Tom King tried to make him more. And it just didn't work out the way I think Tom King wanted it to. Superman Rebirth origin story. Dr. Manhattan as an excuse for continuity changes. Yeah, I thought that was kind of lazy. I didn't like it. Although I think that was more so Superman Rebirth was saying that the Superman from the post-crisis universe is a better Superman than New 52 Superman because he's the older and wiser Superman, which is hilarious because we had a whole event about that thematically. It's called Infinite Crisis. It's a story where the older, wiser Superman at the time says that the new Superman sucks because he's dark and edgy. So it's just weird thematically to just take that younger Superman at the time and then he now gets to be the older, wiser, well, not wiser, but the older Superman, and he's like, these new heroes are edgy. I have to step in because I'm the real hero, Superman. So literally, the thing that like Golden Age Superman was telling to you, you act on. I don't know. That just tone deaf. Oh man. Modern comics. I promise you, there are a lot of really good comics coming out right now. There are a lot of really good comics coming out the past couple years, but just modern comics, man. God damn it. Batman and Talia standalone HBO series, busting Talia's back. It has to be when Bruce Wayne is roofied, because he's not gonna remember anything about that night, according to Grant Morrison. Even though Son of the Demon confirms that like it was totally consensual, and Bruce was like in a right state of mind when they had Damian, but I guess Grant Morrison just didn't read that. Good night, Tevya. John Ty says, speaking about Aquaman Andromeda, which is a great Aquaman book, Christian Ward, the artist of the book, is making his own Black Label Batman book. I am excited for that, yes. This Batman Madness. I think he said it's going to be a spiritual successor to Arkham Asylum, which is a book that I appreciate artistically, but don't actually like. So I'm going to be interested to see what Christian Ward brings to the table with this book. And I'm going to see if I feel any different towards it than I do Arkham Asylum. Which I guess that's like my hot take. I'm not a big Arkham Asylum guy. I don't like that book. I get what it's trying to say, and I get what Grant Morrison's saying with Batman with that book, but I appreciate it artistically, but you know, I don't like it. The Flash movie was a train wreck. It was still better than No Way Home. Because it is actually a story. And Barry Allen is a character who gets to have an arc. 1610 Man says MCU Spider-Man problem. Sony versus Marvel. Dawn of Rights issues. That's true. Yeah, there's just a lot of like Hollywood politics that go into that movie being what it is. MCU is restricted by Sony because they won't let Marvel use traditional version of Spidey status quo with story and characters. Here's the thing. Given the restrictions that Sony put on Marvel, you want to have you have to have Peter Parker be white, male, and straight. You want to have Peter Parker not do drugs or sell drugs. Okay, I don't know why that's even a stipulation, but sure, whatever. You want to have it so that Spider-Man is like always in team-ups with other Marvel Universe characters. Okay, cool. I think you can make all that work and not do what they ultimately did with Spider-Man. I don't know, man. I try not to like go hard on like hating things anymore. I just don't feel like it's not really what I want my channel to be. But like, oh god, MCU Spider-Man is just a good god. I view MCU Spider-Man the same way that a lot of people view like Zack Snyder's like Snyderverse. Like the same level of just like, what are you even doing? I feel that way about like MCU Spider-Man. Jesus. Arca says, I bet Artemis is into roleplay. You know, it probably is. She always seemed like the one straight Amazonian. I'm going to bed, man. You said that last time, Devia. I'll see you later. I'll see you in the chat later. Supreme Omega says on Tony, when does he become irredeemable for you? When does he cross that line of no return? Is it when he ordered Adriana's death? No. I think when he kills Christopher, that's when he becomes irredeemable. I mean, I think Tony's irredeemable from like episode 1. I don't think Tony is a redeemable character at all in that show. Tony is a monster. But that's like the thing I really like about the show. All of those characters are monsters. Like everyone in Tony's crew is a monster. Big Pussy's a monster. God damn it! I can't think of his name. Eyebrows. Eyebrows is a monster. How am I just blanking on all the Sopranos characters' names? All right, hold on a second. All right, Christopher's definitely a monster. Paulie's a monster. Silvio is a monster. I don't know if Vito counts as I never see Vito do anything. But I feel like he's definitely done things that make him like an irredeemable person. Ralph's a monster. Jackie Aprile Jr. is a monster. We don't really see much from like Jackie Sr., but I also assume Jackie Sr. is a monster. Junior's definitely a monster. Bobby's the one person who's not a monster. Until Tony pushes him to like be a killer. Then Artie's not that much of a monster. He's just kind of scummy, but like he's not a monster. Phil Leotardo's definitely a monster. So just everyone in the show's like a terrible person. That's what I'm getting at. Janice is like a parasite. Carmela's a parasite and a monster. Yeah, all these characters are bad. All these characters are evil. I don't feel bad for them, like, experiencing the worst pain in the world as characters. The actors are great, but like, everyone else kind of sucks. Shattered Dimensions version of 2099. White Miguel O'Hara from the Exiles comics. I've heard that excuse, or not excuse, but like that fan theory. That tracks. That definitely tracks. Who wrote that? Is that? I know Chris Claremont wrote Exiles for a while. I don't feel like looking it up. But yeah, that's just weird. Who wants everyone to be Frank Miller's Daredevil? Everyone working in comics right now, apparently. Arcus says black suit in Spider-Man 2 game looks like someone pooped on Peter Parker and made a BDSM outfit out of it. That's, you know what? I didn't like that costume when I first saw it, but it is growing on me. I'll admit it is starting to grow on me. Why not have Zeb Wells write Daredevil? I think Zeb Wells would write a pretty good Daredevil book. I think Zeb Wells is a pretty good writer. Like, honest to God, I think Zeb Wells is a good writer. His Wolverine and Spider-Man was really good. I heard he wrote some X-Men that was pretty decent too. So I mean, Zeb Wells isn't a bad writer. It's just Spider-Man is locked into like an editorial what's the best way to put it? Spider-Man's balls are bound in an editorial chastity lock. You just can't do anything with that character. And it's just being pulled in too many different directions by a lot of people who are in charge of that character's IP. So that's the ultimate problem with Spider-Man. And it just kind of is what it is at that point. copying Daredevil, just superhero tropes from the past century. Hey man, Daredevil works, dude. It's great. Supreme Omega says a DC hot take: Justice League and Teen Titans had more bad comics than good. For people who actually read comics, I don't think that's a hot take. Those last few years of Wolfman's Titans run is bad. The infamous Titans hunt, and remember the whole Nightwing getting raped that one time? Yep. Apparently Devin Grayson, ironically, well, maybe not ironically, but apparently Devin Grayson pitched a Born Again type story for Nightwing. So there you have it. Once again, every character is just Daredevil. They even gave Nightwing like billy clubs in the 90s. Like, come on. Come on. But yeah, Justice League, I was talking about this as the at the top of the stream. I was reading this. It just kind of hit me like, this is kind of like a generic Justice League story, but then I thought about it and I was like, oh wait, there actually aren't that many good Justice League stories though. Like, this could in theory just be a story in like Grant Morrison's JLA, but like, outside of Grant Morrison's run on JLA, how many other runs on Justice League are there that are like notable and good? There's like the Scott Snyder run. It's kind of cool. I think Brian Hitch did a pretty good New 52 run on JLA, or that wasn't New 52. That was DCU at that point. But outside of that, all of the other like really good Justice League stories are out of continuity, like this or New Frontier or see my point? Oh, or The Nail by Alan Davis. Yeah, so there's another one. That makes 3. So yeah, a lot of Justice League stories aren't that great in DC continuity. A lot of them kind of suck. Yeah, dude. I think the peak of JLA is like that TV show. That's saying something, man. I like the ending of Joker and Batman Endgame. Me too. I think that's a pretty good ending for that character. After Zeb Wells, they're gonna hire a new writer. Peter and MJ are gonna be back together and nostalgiate stories that fans will spread rumors about. Retconning one more day, and then Marvel screws Peter and MJ shippers over all over again. Yep, that's basically what happened with I almost said Nick Remender. That's not a person. Nick Spencer. Yeah, that's exactly what happened with Nick Spencer. Arcus says Batman Catwoman books. Batman has a book when it's him and his woman, but Superman isn't. It's been years since Rebirth, and Lois hadn't done anything interesting to do, or hasn't had anything interesting to do. We need a book about Lois and Clark. We're getting that. It's called Superman Lost, but you hate it because you're a poopy butt. I mean, I don't know. I do agree. I think Lois needs more to do. I like that Joshua Williamson has positioned her as being the editor-in-chief of the Daily Planet. I think that's an interesting status quo for Lois. But yeah, great ending for the Joker. He finally comes out of the closet for Batman in front of Gotham City, the entire world, and the Rogues Gallery memes him until he quits altogether. Hasn't that already happened? I feel like Joker's already just kind of confessed to Batman, and Batman's just like, you degenerate, blah. That's in Arkham Asylum, I think, too. Supreme Omega says, on Cyclops, I'm not a Scott Jean shipper, but I'm also not a Scott Emma shipper. As far as I'm concerned, Scott had his ending by marrying Maddie and retiring to Alaska. Yeah, he's one of the other characters that had a definitive ending. That whole return to the status quo thing that starts with like the Jim Shooter era, I really think it messed up a lot in comics. Arcus says, Chandai, I would go for a spy detective conspiracy story, because when it comes to space, Lois is pretty useless. I think we need to see them doing more like investigative journalism together. I agree, which is why I think conceptually, My Adventures with Superman is really good. Conceptually, on a concept level, it is really good. Great idea that My Adventures with Superman show is, and I'll give it that. I mean, you have General Zod, who's also part of Krypton too. Yeah, but I don't know. General Zod and like the other Kryptonian insurgents aren't forces of nature in the same way that Doomsday is a force of nature. Like, Zod is like an imperialist, and like a conqueror. Doomsday is just death. Like, at the end of the day, General Zod wants to build something. Zod, like, not Zod. Doomsday just is. It is a demon that it's built on death. It's run by death. It is death. I think there's something really cool in that. As like an antagonistic force to Superman. I remember when Superman Returns was coming out, fans and casuals were upset that Doomsday wasn't the main villain. It's funny you mention that. I remember somewhere one of the writers of Superman Returns said that the sequel was going to be Superman versus Doomsday. Where like the little kid, Superman's son, becomes Doomsday and Superman has to kill him. I think that potentially could have been interesting, but I don't know. I also just didn't like Superman Returns. I was glad when we just abandoned that whole ship. Oof. Let's make a movie about Superman where he's like a dick because he just left Earth off a hunch that Krypton was still there, but B, when he comes back, he's like upset that everyone moved on with their lives. Like, Lois, you have a husband and child. How come you won't just jump back in my arms and take my Super D? Like, what are we doing with Superman? What's going on here? Brian, you're not a good person. Go away. You can't run Superman. You don't know what you're doing. And then having it turn out that like the kid is Clark's son. No, that's just nope, didn't happen. That movie didn't happen. I think the best antithesis for Superman is Darkseid. I think Darkseid's a really wonderful antithesis to Superman in that Darkseid, okay, in a cosmic landscape, like as far as like the DC universe as a whole is concerned, I think Darkseid is like the antithesis to Superman. But as far as Superman sees himself as like the legacy of Krypton, I like the idea that Doomsday represents the antithesis of that. Like ideologically, Darkseid is Superman's opposite, but as far as just like being a force of nature, I think Doomsday is a really interesting foil for Superman. I just want to see Lois Lane use a laser gun. Based. I love that. I want to see that too. 1610 says, fans, save Darkseid for New Gods instead of Superman. Casuals. But nobody cares about the New Gods. I guess mark me as a casual because I don't care about the New Gods. I think the New Gods are like an interesting concept under Jack Kirby, but like outside of that, I don't care about the New Gods. I really don't. I think Jack Kirby's New Gods are cool. But you know when I really care about the New Gods? When I'm reading Superman. That's when I care about the New Gods. That's when they matter. When they're in the Superman book. Where they belong. Stupid ass forever people. No, goddammit. Crap. No. Where was I? The problem in power levels, Superman already has laser eyes and Lois doesn't have the right training. Yeah, but you could also just put her in like a mech suit and say through the power of comics, Lois Lane is like now a 40k space marine. Superman Rebirth equals Dr. Manhattan lazy retcons. Yeah, that's it. But it gave a lot of people what they wanted, and it paid the lip service, and it worked for that. Also, just in general, I think there's a lot of, not a lot, but I think there were some really good Rebirth books. Like Deathstroke Rebirth was really good. I still love how Tom King's Road on Batman starts. I love those first 3 arcs. I also love the Otto Schmidt and Benjamin Percy run on Green Arrow. That was really good. And no one read it. This is why we can't have nice things. So yeah, man. I love those 3 books. I think those are like those are the benchmarks for what Rebirth could have been. And as for Rebirth itself, it's alright. But after like DCU and New 52 and all that, it was exactly what DC needed. It was the shot of B12 in the left butt cheek to get them revved up again. Supreme Omega says, speaking of X-Men endings, the Dark Phoenix Saga should have been the last time we saw the original 5 X-Men play a big role in the X-Men mythos. I hear that. I have not read Dark Phoenix. I know I'm a terrible Marvel fan. I'm a terrible comic book fan. I was just never super big on the X-Men. The X-Men just, I mean, I've gone on this tirade before, but like, X-Men has one of those problems where, again, it's not their fault. It's more so the fault of the fan base. Because you're always running into people who are like, oh my god, the X-Men are like so important because like they're like, you know, like they're like allegories for like racism, and they like push the boundaries of like what you can do with comics. And I'm not saying that they're wrong, you know. The X-Men were like 100% allegories for racial oppression and LGBTQ like fears, both societally and like individually for people who were LGBTQ. They were afraid of coming out. So like there's a lot of really interesting allegory in the X-Men. It's just, oh my god, X-Men is like the best. It's better than everything else in comics because it's better. Like I always hear that in the back of my mind when I'm trying to read X-Men, and then it's just, it never lives up to the hype that X-Men has behind it. So I'm just like, it's stupid. You know, it's cooler than this. It's cooler than reading X-Men by like the second Genesis. Superman's pal Jimmy Olsen. Oh, cool. You have your Krakoa X-Men. It's so important. It's so interesting. You know what's better than it? Blame. Literally everything else is better than this. So shut up. Shut up, X-Men fans. You're wrong. I hate you. I don't know. There's just too much hype behind the X-Men for me to like really get invested in it. And on top of that, I don't like the X-Men as people. I think they're just annoying, and you know who's problems? Spider-Man. Spider-Man legitimately has problems. Like, this man's struggling to pay his rent, and he's struggling to save the city, and he's struggling to keep his family together. You know who doesn't have problems? Kitty Pryde. Oh my god. I went to the mall, and the blob said I wasn't down with the cause. I'm sad. Oh, I hate you people. I hope the Sentinels find you and string you all up. God, the X-Men annoy the hell out of me. Oh man. I'm gonna get canceled for that down the line at some point. I know it's gonna happen. 1610 Man says, Jeff Johns, I'm a private contractor who's bought in to fix the DC universe with lazy retcons for fans, while I'm also trying to pander to casuals at the same time. Yeah, Jeff Johns is the American Mark Miller. And I like Mark Miller, and I like Jeff Johns. It's just sometimes it's like, oh, you're doing this not for me. Which, I mean, isn't that big of a surprise? Like, Jeff Johns at the end of the day is, I mean, he's a comic book writer, sure, but like he's a movie guy. He worked for Richard Donner as a film producer. That's like his bread and butter. So it makes sense why a lot of his comics are movie pitches, because he is a film producer who likes comics. Stream says, do you feel Melfi is complicit in Tony's crimes? She should have ended their sessions with Tony a lot earlier. Yeah, she should have reported him to the police. Like doctor-patient confidentiality. Fuck that. Like, is the mob. Like, it's literally if the Kingpin's therapist just, oh yes, I'm hearing everything you're saying you did, but you know what? I think you're interesting, so I'm not gonna tell the police. Maybe you should tell the police. Hickman Spider-Man. Let's overthink this character into an epic ride. I would love that though. At this point with Spider-Man, just do whatever as long as it's good. I don't care. The character's broken anyways. Just you can't break Spider-Man further at this point. You just can't. So yeah, let's get Jonathan Hickman in there to do Spider-Man. That'd be great. Spider-Man is Marvel Superman. Oh, I'm triggered. I'm so triggered. Room says, I know you make fun of Justice League International, but you have to admit it was a lot better than those satellite era 70s Justice League runs. Yeah, but like anything's better than those satellite era Justice League runs. They're just not good. The Justice League's just generally not a good book. And I just can't bring myself to care about Justice League International because it's... I still like the concept of the Justice League, you know? But I don't like when they just turned into, like, Harley Quinn style SNL jokes. I'm not into that. Christopher Nolan's Wonder Woman, female Indiana Jones. That sounds cool, though. That sounds, like, unironically really cool. I want that. I do want that in life. I wonder what that Wonder Woman video game is going to be like. I saw some pictures of like the concept art, and there's like a woman with guns, and someone said that's going to be like their Steve Trevor. I hope that's not the case, because the whole point of Steve Trevor is that it's the one man that she met who wasn't awful and evil and broke all the stereotypes that her mother told her that men like make up. I don't know. Just changing Steve Trevor from like a man to a woman just fundamentally breaks the whole point of Wonder Woman, I feel. But I don't know. Despite that, the game looks like it could be really cool. I love the artwork for it. I think aesthetically it's beautiful. I am a little sick and tired of the Gal Gadot costume. Like, I think the DCEU Gal Gadot Wonder Woman costume is, like, really cool, but can we just go back to classic Wonder Woman now? Can we do that? I just want to see Wonder Woman look like regular Wonder Woman again. That'd be cool. I don't know. Like, I know it's like a simple thing, but I remember when Christopher Cantwell ditched the MCU style armor, and he had Alex Ross redesign the current armor, and it's very retro, and it's like a throwback to the classic red and gold. That made me happy. I like seeing Iron Man look like classic comic book Iron Man instead of just like a Dollar General version of Robert Downey Jr.'s Iron Man from the MCU. That's nice. I like that we've made that change now. I hope Wonder Woman gets that change in the near future too. I personally never liked composite superhero teams like Justice League or the Avengers. Because the writers had to dumb down and nerf every character to fit the team. I don't know. Hickman's Avengers does a pretty good job of handling all those characters, I feel. Also, I think Grant Morrison's run on JLA is, I think, the gold standard for a team book. Juntai says, I do love the Justice League Odyssey run. That was a really good one. Written by Dan Abnett. So, of course, get the Guardians of the Galaxy guy and the Annihilation guy to write a cosmic space DC book. Yeah, no brainer. Also, from what I've read of Jeff Johns' run, I thought it was pretty good. Jeff Johns' run is it's a cool movie pitch, which I think is perfected with Zack Snyder's Justice League. But it's a movie pitch. That's what it is. Also, I want to defend Justice League International. It was not always goofy. Okay. There are actually good serious moments in the classic Giffen DeMatteis run. Alright, I'll give it a shot. It just has like the reputation of being like the silly, goofy Justice League book, so I just never gave it a shot. Um, uh, Beanie. Okay, you got my attention. Superman Lost is about Superman whining about his PTSD. Lois looks worried. Yeah, well, it gives her something to do, so have fun. 1610 Man says General Zod versus Doomsday. The battle of place for Superman's third arch enemy. Oh man. Does Zod? I wonder if Zod wins that fight. I'm not sure. Supreme says, I feel like Darkseid becoming a villain for Superman and the Young Justice and the Justice League was a big mistake. He got nerfed a bit. I feel like he worked best as a foe for the New Gods and the Legion of Superheroes. Well, I haven't read the Great Darkness Saga, which is a book that everyone recommends to me. That's like the one Legion of Superheroes book that I will ever check out, because Legion of Superheroes is just DC's X-Men. Like, if someone ever asks, hey, where do I start with the X-Men? You just tell them, don't. You want to start reading X-Men? It's funny, this kid wants to start reading X-Men. I feel the same way about Legion of Superheroes. Where do I start with Legion of Superheroes? You don't. Don't start. Just never read it, because there's no place to start. I feel that's ironic, given how like my next video is gonna be me like explaining a cool place to start with reading Batman's history, or just reading Batman's entire history as a whole, which actually isn't all that difficult. Now that I've scripted the video and I've put all the series of events in like chronological order. It's not really impossible to read all of Batman, or like all of the important stuff from Batman. I think it's pretty doable, honestly. I really do. But to your point, Super Omega. No, wasn't it Jack Kirby that made Darkseid a Superman villain? So like that's like a Jack Kirby idea. 1610 says Superman Returns suffers from deleted and alternate scenes that explain or fix plot holes that writers said that were originally 3 hours long. Which, dude, just release a 3 hour cut. I don't care. Do it. I'll watch a 3 hour superhero movie. John High says, I love the first 4 arcs of Tom King's Batman run. If you wanted to read Tom King's Batman, you could read the first 4 volumes and then go to the 5th, but it becomes something different. Is that Rules to Engagement? Yeah. Never like Claremont's X-Men or fans like Comic Book Girl 19. Okay, see you. OMG, X-Men is so hyped. High concept, bruh. I'd rather read Grant Morrison's and Beyond. Yep, same. I just can't with the X-Men. And it's not the X-Men's fault. It's just whenever I'm going into the X-Men, I have all this hype in the back of my mind from people who tell me that it's like the most important comic ever written, and if you don't agree, well, then you're a bigot, and history will look back on you as the monster that you actually are. It's just like, alright man, whatever, Doug. Whatever, Doug. I can't. The Arcus says, on my Adventures with Superman idea, since they already made Lois Lane Asian, have her be a female Bruce Lee. A very serious character would contrast with a more soft Clark. She would punch problems and talk them rather than talk them out. I I'd rather we didn't just make another Asian character martial arts master. There's a lot of that in comics. I think we're okay with not doing that. Jeff Johns equals the Kevin Feige of Warner Brothers in DC. Doesn't utilize it to its full potential, but I'm tired of commercialized cinematic universes. Same. I'd rather they just be like one-offs, or if they're not going to be one-offs, in the case of like the Todd Phillips Joker movie, just lean into the genre. Just do something weird and interesting. Just do that. What makes the concept of the Justice League hard to write for comics? I think people just don't know how to keep that epic scale like up here. It's hard for people to do. Like reading this is like an event. But like, how do you do an event for like 50 issues ongoing? That's like the ultimate problem with the Justice. Is the Wonder Woman game even happening anymore? Dude, I don't know. I would assume it is, but I don't know. What happened to classic spandex costumes? They got replaced by cinematic redesigns. They're all tactical now. Yeah, I kind of miss when costumes look kind of like silly and goofy. I don't know. That was pretty fun. Stream Omega says the countdown to Infinite Crisis. I don't mind Ted Kord's death, but I don't like John's take on Maxwell Lord. DC really had rich villain in Lex. Why would he hate metahuman since he's also a metahuman? I don't think that was Jeff Johns who did that. I think that was like, is it Rucka who did that? I don't remember. But yeah, Countdown was interesting. Part of me, here's the thing, I don't care about Ted Kord. I really don't, but it sucks that he got axed off the way he got axed off. Like, if that was one of my favorite characters, I'd feel some kind of way about that. That said, Ted Kord dying laid the groundwork for Jaime Reyes becoming Blue Beetle, and Jaime Reyes is one of my favorite superheroes. So, I feel like I won. Greg Rucka's retcon Justice League International. Maxwell Lord was a supervillain all along. Welcome to the OMAC project. OMAC's being used a lot lately in a lot of stuff. Like, OMAC is in the Blue Beetle movie. OMAC is in the Young Justice TV show. You have OMAC in the My Adventures with Superman show. I really hope the Jack Kirby estate's getting money from that. I highly doubt it, but it'd be cool if they did. Jeff Johns cannot write Batman and Wonder Woman. That's true. I feel like some characters have blind spots. I feel like for Jeff Johns, Batman and Wonder Woman are Jeff Johns' blind spots. He can write a damn good Superman. He can write a damn good pretty much everyone else. It's just he cannot write Batman and he cannot write Wonder Woman. I don't think he has a real good take on them. 1610 Man says Greg Rucka pushed for Maxwell Lord to be a supervillain. There's even an interview with him saying "rich man bad." God damn it, Greg. That's funny, but you know, yeah. Nothing wrong with having the Asian martial artist. I mean, there's not, but like, come on. At a certain point, it's like, this bitch knows kung fu. Why? Because she's Asian. It's like, I don't know. It would be like just seeing a black person introduced in the comic and they're just eating fried chicken with a Colt 40 on the side. It's like, oh, because he's okay, fine. Just call me one while you're at it. uh, Infinite Crisis. Yeah, Infinite Crisis I think is one of the best comic events of all time. 1610 Man says Steven universes are shared universes. I don't know where I got Steven from. Shared universes are better off being connected by theories, Easter eggs, cameos that occasionally team up crossovers with big events. And happens during the year, especially teams. I agree. I'm in the same boat. Supreme says on Meadow, is the amount. When is the moment she becomes corrupted by her parents? When she defends the family business in Jackie's Jr.'s funeral? Yes. Around the, I think Meadow's just a bad person the entire time. She's just insufferable. I hate her. The actress does a really good job of playing that character, but she's just insufferable. John Ty says, since you've talked about Hickman's Avengers run, have you read Hickman's run on Fantastic Four? Yes, I have. I have the whole thing here, and I read all of it. It's really good. And it seems to apparently lay the groundwork for what he does in Avengers. That's dope. 1610 says, Asian martial artist and black superhero in the hood. Welcome to bad progressive stereotypes. I will only accept the latter if it's Luke Cage, because Luke Cage works as one of the stereotypes. Because Luke Cage is literally just bulletproof black dynamite, and I think we need more of that. I don't really want Luke Cage from the Netflix show where he's like quoting like Frederick Douglass and talking about, you know, when Sister Rose stood up for us on the bus. It's like, this isn't, Luke Cage doesn't talk like this. Luke Cage is like a hard ER from Harlem. He's black dynamite. Don't give me this. Don't give me this. I want the real Luke Cage. Perfection. Supreme Omega says, was there any moment Tony could be redeemed? No. Now, Tony Soprano is an irredeemable character from like the get-go. Have you heard about the Spider-Man Lotus controversy? Oh God, yes. It's kind of funny, the whole thing with Spider-Man Lotus. I'm seeing a lot of people react to it sort of the same way that like people react to John Byrne's Superman, where they're more so attacking the product because the artist behind it is a bad person, and like, all right, whatever. I don't know, man. I haven't seen the Lotus fan film, so I don't know what it actually looks like. I've seen some clips here and there of like Spider-Man swinging, and that looks really good. Some of the costumes look really good. Some of the complaints I'm hearing on social media just sound stupid though. Like, you had people go like, why is Peter Parker being mean to Mary Jane? Why would Peter Parker be mean to his friends and alienate his friends with a bad, mean, nasty attitude? It's like, do you guys read Spider-Man comics? Or do you like just know Spider-Man from the Sam Raimi movies? And I'm not trying to be mean there. Like, it's just, I feel like if you actually read Spider-Man comics, you know that Peter Parker's kind of a dick. And he's just kind of an unsympathetic character sometimes. That's just his character. I don't know, man. But outside of that, like, I don't know anything else about it. Like, I saw like a clip where Peter's late for a movie or something like that, and he's hanging out with like Gwen, Harry, and MJ, and I don't know. Acting is what I would expect from a fan film, and the writing is, I mean, they're pulling from the comics pretty hard, so I don't mind that. I did see someone say, like, they used the horribly racist Fu Manchu line. How dare you have Peter and MJ talk, Peter and Harry talk like that? And I'm like, have you guys been to New York? Do you not realize that New Yorkers are just casually racist like that? I don't know, dude. There's just a lot of stuff where I'm like, guys, okay, if you don't want to like, if you want to not like Gavin or whatever the guy's name is who made the movie, that's fine. But like, some of your complaints are pretty stupid. They're just pretty dumb. Why is Peter Parker being mean? Because Peter Parker's kind of an asshole. Why is Peter Parker and Harry saying horribly racist things? Because they're New Yorkers who are like they're like college age New Yorkers, and just they're New Yorkers. New York guys, go to New York, or maybe just don't go to New York. But New York is like a terribly racist place. It just is. I feel like no one brings that up. There's a like post 9/11. There is like a romanticism of New York. This is the city of dreams, where everything is beautiful and we're all friends because New York. And it's like, dude, New Yorkers are bad. New York's just a bad place. New York is Gotham City. New York is real life Gotham City. Arcus says, I don't know, I would like it if Russian villains were presented as they used to, as merciless killing machines and not funny drunks. And stereotypes can be good and bad. Knowing Kung Fu is a good stereotype. Yeah, but like she's not even really like she's not even Kung Fu Asian. She's like Korean. That's like K-pop Asian. if we're being, racist about it, like, yeah, she wrong Asian, Arcus. Wrong Asian. 16 Tin Man says Netflix Luke Cage equals Black Mr. Rogers. Yeah, real hard, really hard. Does Tony actually love his kids? Yeah, I think Tony Soprano definitely loves his kids. Spider-Man Lotus in a nutshell, comic fans versus casual fans. Yeah, but that's like most Spider-Man in general. Cosmonaut Variety Hour. I don't watch his videos. He did a video about he did some video about like DC characters like a couple years ago, and I was like, oh, you're a normie, which isn't a bad thing. It's just you're just a normie. He's like, Taika Waititi gets it because Thor is sometimes silly. I stopped watching his videos after that. But apparently he said he read the comments. He read the comics and was like, OMG, why is Spider-Man or why is it dark and edgy with gritty realism? Mean and based on source material. Yeah. I don't know. I feel like some people want Spider-Man to be Superman really hard. I really feel that way. And it's just kind of weird to me because Spider-Man is just not Superman. It's not. Choose your stereotype. Angry black man. But I'm not really angry. I don't know. I kind of let things like roll off my back most of the time. Yeah. Basically. But yeah, guys, not a super dense week for comics. Again, we got like Ultimate Invasion #3, and that was kind of eh. But I did, in the meantime, really enjoy reading this. This is really cool. I feel like more DC fans should read this. And I honestly feel like, I mean, not to make everything like a cinematic, like this should be a movie, but if we're gonna get like a Justice League movie at some point in time, drop the whole shared universe thing. Just do this. Just do this. This is a really cool evergreen, like, DC story. Make it animated. yeah, this is great. um, but I love that, and again, I'm loving the Hickman era Avengers. I'm glad I'm finally getting a chance to check this material out. Where's your Ultimates 2 video? I'm working on it, dude. It was just it's been a long 2 years. It's been a long 2 years. Or maybe it's been 3 years. Dude, my dad died. I graduated college. I had to get a job. I had to leave my job. Got a new job. My girlfriend's sister had a baby. It's been a crazy year, man. Did a crazy couple years. But yeah, after this video that I'm working on right now, the script's already done for the Ultimates 2 video, so I'm probably just gonna start trying to get to work on that. Because I don't really think I have anything else lined up as far as scripts are concerned. It's just the editing that I don't want to do. That's like the big thing. The big thing holding me back from that video is the editing process. I don't want to edit it, but I will. I'll buck up. Yeah, Evergreen tours are really cool. On Sopranos, it's interesting that most fans only begin to notice Tony being irredeemable in season 5 and 6. Well, that's the thing that's really cool about that show. Like, it tricks you into liking some of these like terrible human beings by showing you their more like relatable qualities, and then you go back and you're like, oh shit, these are actually like monsters. Alex Ross said his artwork only works in 3D CGI animation. I mean, that hasn't stopped DC in the past couple years from just not adapting artwork at all. You know what I think would be really cool for like this? Do it anime style. I think that'd honestly be really cool. Just adapt Justice as an anime. But like, you know, I had this whole thing when I was as I was reading this, and I had this when I was reading Kingdom Come as well, but I realized that contrary to popular perception regarding Alex Ross's work, I don't feel like Alex Ross's artwork is cinematic. I don't consider it to be cinematic. This doesn't feel like film storyboards to me. This feels like when you're this is looking at like a matte painting. This feels like looking at like the painting of like the creation of like where you have God poking Adam's finger. That's what this is. This is mythology. This is looking at like a mythological like tapestry. That's what this feels like to me. It doesn't feel like film. Ironically, I think the closest we've ever gotten to this feeling is Zack Snyder. Just throwing that out there. Just throwing that out there. But like, yeah, no, this like the scale of like epicness, and like earnest epicness. Not trying to be like kitschy with it. Like, yeah. I don't think we're really gonna get that with the James Gunn universe. I think he's gonna try to shy away from that and work with what Marvel had worked for them, but I just don't think that's what people really want right now. I think Marvel did their thing, and I think it worked really well for the 10 years that it worked, and I don't know if it's going to work in the near future. But I don't know. It could work. It could. I'm just saying I don't think it will. Because I'm a not cynical. I'm a jaded asshole. But yeah, dude, this book is really cool. This is like, I think this is up there with New Frontier as must read, like required reading if you're trying to get into DC Comics. I don't know why I started going on a tangent about Justice, but this is really good, and you should read it if you haven't read it already. The only problem though, and I will say it's needlessly expensive. It's like $50. Granted, this is a hardcover and it's really good. Although my hardcover is defective. Like you take the dust jacket off and like the Legion of Doom is on the front cover and it's upside down. And you look at the back cover without the dust jacket, and it's the Justice League, and they're also upside down. So this thing's printed weird. But I don't know. One of my buddies said that makes it worth more. I don't think I don't think it's worth anything. I think it's kind of worthless. But I'm just gonna keep the dust jacket on this. But yeah, I really like this comic. I thoroughly enjoyed this. Alex Ross's art feels like statues and paintings. Yeah. Connor Kent, Cassandra Cain animated movie in the style of a Gorillaz music video. That sounds amazing. Why would you tell me something that I can't have and I want it? You're a bully, Arcus. You're a bully and a meanie. But yeah, guys. I think I'm just gonna leave it off there. Cool video. I'm glad I got to talk to y'all this week. Thanks for coming by, and I'm gonna get to work on my next video, like, as soon as I say goodbye. Alright, so, thanks, guys. Alright, see you later. Good night.